Alright everybody, looks like we're ready for the next run. It's going to be Hylics 2 Any Percent by rjsmangit. Take it away.
Hello, welcome everybody. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are right now. My name's RJ, and I'll be running Hylics 2 for you. It'll be any percent. And if you haven't seen Hylics 2, I can assure you that you're in for it. What you're in for exactly, that'll be for you to decide. But anyway, why don't we hop right into it? The timer will start when we press new game. Give you a 3 count. 3, 2, 1, go. We get this cutscene right here, but we don't have to watch it. We can skip it. It's the only cutscene in the game we can actually skip. I'm gonna set my settings to auto run. And before I go, there was a bid incentive for Wayne's outfit. Did purple win? I mean, it was way ahead.
Yeah, purple won pretty decisively.
Great, good choice, everybody. So we'll change into the slick purple outfit. It was a good choice because it's faster. It's not faster, it just looks cooler. But anyway, we're gonna run right into our basement, grab some juice for later. And before we leave, very important when you're running Hylics, that you pet your Wayne larva. For good luck. If you don't, you're in for a bad time. Anyway, we're out of here. So this is Wayne House, the starting area where Wayne lives. The first thing we're gonna do, and this is the Overworld. Looks pretty wacky. You'll notice that everything kind of looks globby, almost like clay. And that would be because it is clay. Everything in this game is made of scanned 3D clay models on pixel art, and then all of the animation is stop motion animation. So this is like the first town of the game. This is called New Moldal. We have a couple things we want to do here. We're gonna, first of all, we grabbed our juice in the basement for a reason. We know there's a thirsty miner down here that we're gonna give the juice to. And then in return, he's gonna give us a key to his house. What a gentleman. And this is an important thing. We make this detour because in his house, it's a really nice house. Just wait. It's just this monitor, but what this monitor does is it gives us our first skill of the game. It's called Soul Crisper. And you don't need to know anything about Soul Crisper other than that its name is sweet and that it's a damage over time skill, which will be super important to the run. But now we're going to go up into the main building of the town to see the leader. Oh wait, he's not even here. But we recognize an old friend. This is Pangorma if you've played Hylics 1, a returning character. And with recruiting Pangorma, we actually get this ability to air dash, which is going to be the main movement tech of the entire run. We'll fall into the water. Falling into some water here resets your position to the initial spawn of the area, which is, in some cases, faster, depending on what areas we're in. We're going to make another little detour here to the excavation site. We picked up Soul Crisper, our first damage over time skill, and now we're going to pick up our second one in this area, but we got some chickens to avoid. They are indeed chickens. Don't even worry about it. They were nice chickens today. Sometimes they can really be in the way. And I see the question, this is a JRPG. It is indeed. We'll see that shortly. But we got some flying around to do. Aside from the skill that we're here to collect, we also collect our first equipment item. It's called Brain Digits. It's an attack equipment, and what it does is it adds a ton of speed to the user. We're actually going to take that and put it on Wayne for right now. Use this mini crystal, which we'll talk about, and go back to Wayne now. So while we're running to the next area, the mini crystal is something we'll see a fair bit during the run. It was an item that was introduced into the beta of the game because people kept getting stuck and lost in random places. So the dev put in this mini crystal that would like get them out of being stuck. But as the versions of the game kept up, the mini crystal stayed in the game, which is good for us because now we can use it to move around back to the beginning areas or even manipulate the spawns, which we'll get to at some point in time. But it's super nice to have that to help us move around. We're at like the first, I guess you could call it a dungeon. This is Vuax's edifice. And we're here to rescue someone, but before we do, we'll meet another friend from Hylics 1. This is the the0nlymarath0n. He gives us a paddle to use the canoe that's on the beach. What a guy. We're gonna take that canoe. Gotta be careful in here. Good, didn't notice me. That's an enemy. So most enemies in the game will move in a predictable pattern. But that one and a couple others have weird movement cycles where you never know where they're actually going to be when you get into the area. So I'm actually going to make a save at the top here because sometimes this dodge is sketchy. There is a dodge mechanic in this game, but it is inconsistent at best. So just because we reloaded the save, we actually don't even need to do the dodge. We could just go around them. And then we're going to make another save because we're at our first boss. This is Vuax. Just to make sure. This boss fight is probably the hardest in the game, so hopefully it could go well for us. We're going to start by using our first damage over time skill, Soul Crisper. And then since Wayne went, all of these people are going to get to go. We're going to kind of just play defense, hoping for the big red guy, Vuax, to do a move called Charge Up. He normally doesn't do it on his first turn. I've never seen it before. So I don't expect it now. Just gonna heal Wayne with cupcakes. Sharp fingers. Not too bad. Actually, we should just heal with Wayne. Sorry, try to pay attention here so we don't die early. So charge up, Vuax. Do it. Do it for the marathon. After the the0nlymarath0n's turn. Do it. What a guy! He's doing it. So this is the best, because what's going to happen is on Vuax's next turn, he's going to do an attack called Spiky Radius. And what that's going to do is kill all the tyros around him, the enemies around him. So I don't have to do it. And while we're working on that, we'll try to kill Vuax himself. So we're just gonna keep hitting him. Vuax has here comes the Spiky Radius. So we're actually, Wayne's gonna die probably. So we're gonna use Soul Crisper because this is actually a little scary. I'm gonna have to. That's not who I want. Oh, he died too. Uh-oh. We should be okay. He's gonna use a cookie here, which is fine. He should get killed by the damage over time eventually. Foam Armor is the the0nlymarath0n's signature skill. Sorry, a lot happens really quick early on. But what it does is it fully heals and adds 50 health to whoever you use it with. That actually wasn't too bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. So you notice 2 people actually died during that fight, and that's not a big deal at all because in this game, it is an RPG, a JRPG turn-based, but there isn't any leveling up mechanic. There's no experience. So if people happen to die in battle, it's just kind of slow usually. It doesn't affect our progression as far as stats. All of the stats in the game are static. The only way to improve them is by getting equipment or using specific items. This guy's being a pain. Get out of my way. Good, he didn't notice me. So we get this guy. This is who we're here to rescue, but we're also going to talk to the guy in the next cell. But all of the stats are static in this game, so the only way to improve it is by using equipment or by using specific items that you get that are very rare. And the only way to increase your health is by taking the meat you win in fights and taking it to the afterlife and putting it in the meat grinder. Don't think too much about it. But now that we rescued the leader of that town, we're going to go back and talk to him. And we'll do our little air dashies. This is the exact kind of game you'd expect at 1:30. Exactly. This is the 1:30 a.m. game. And I don't regret that at all. Oh, we're actually short on money. I didn't check my money. So we need to, with the second guy we rescued in the jail there was a shopkeeper. And we actually need $80. So we only had $69. We're gonna have to like farm some money here. We're actually super short on money. It's like the shortest I've ever been on money. Let me up here. I just want the coins. Okay. We'll have to find some coins somewhere. What are we at? We need 1. Okay, I just need to get there. Oh, we did it. Gaming. All right, so now we go back to the shopkeeper. What we were buying from the shopkeeper is multi-coffees, and they're very important for the next 2 fights we're gonna get into. Unfortunately, like, so there is kind of a money route, and Vuax's fight was so cooperative that we actually didn't get enough money from it. But now we'll go talk to the leader of the town, and we come up to a nice short little cutscene. I don't know if there's anything you want to say, donations or whatnot, but that would be a good time. Got about a minute.
So we did actually just open a couple of new incentives up. The Hylics bid war having closed, we actually have added a couple of new bid wars. The first of which is the Sonic CD soundtrack choice between the Japanese soundtrack and the US soundtrack. And we also have an additional bid war that opened up for the DuckTales remastered soundtrack between the 8-bit soundtrack and the remastered Range soundtrack. So you get your donations in, you can donate them, you can put your donations towards incentives, and you can also put them towards polls. They're not mutually separate, you can actually put it towards one of each.
Perfect, sounds good. Keep the donations rolling. Let's meet some of those incentives. The support for the marathon has been incredible so far. I've been moved by the amount of generosity that's been shown over the weekend so far, and we still have so much to go.
Absolutely.
So we're back at it. Sorry, go for it.
Go ahead.
Nah. You're good.
Well, we're just sitting now currently at $8,140.01 because somebody likes chaos. No, that's actually why. But that is less than $2,000 away from the $10,000 goal. We are less than 24 hours left in the marathon, so please do get your donations in.
So if you've noticed, we're now in an airship. Long story short, the guy we rescued gave us a key to his airship, and now we're using it. Basically, everybody in this game is a pal. You rescue them, and they give you something cool. But we're going to use the ship, first of all, to make a detour to this island. This is Antenna Island, where we get probably the most important skill to being able to finish the run in the manner that we do. It's Charge Up, so Charge Up does exactly what it says. You spend a turn charging up, and then it adds different effects to any of the moves you're about to be doing. And what's so nice about this is it does one skill that we actually saw in that Vuax fight, where he used foam armor, which adds, it usually is a full heal, and adds 50 health to their max health temporarily. Instead of being able to use that on one person, when you charge it up, it applies to everybody. So in something that would take 4 turns to add foam armor to everybody, now only takes 2. And adding 50 health to everybody in a game where you can't just, add health to everybody is actually very clutch. So it's going to be very important. Not exactly in this fight, but pretty much every fight going forward. So this is a fight where we'll recruit our last character. We actually get her in the fight, Snosa. And you notice the little shimmery shines around all of our characters right now? That is called clean status. So if you talk to any tubs or sinks in this game, you'll get clean status as well as a full heal. And what clean status does, who is he going to attack? It's always Snosa. Thanks for the memes. What clean status does is if you get hit by a skill that would add a damage over time effect, it won't actually apply the effect. But unlucky for us, he hit the only person in the party that doesn't have clean. So now we're kind of just hoping that Snosa doesn't get hit again, because she's about to put another damage over time skill on herself. And what we're doing here is every time the red guy on the right is attacked, he counters by putting everything to sleep. And how we fight this back is by buying multi-coffees, which we bought in that town, which keeps people from falling asleep. So every turn, we'll just like apply damage over time skills to people and put everything back to sleep by the end of it. It's a good deal. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking about the turn order. So now we're gonna do flames on this guy. Unfortunately, this character gets a turn. This is a pool man. Pool man is a cool man, but what we don't want to see is pool man multiply, and the only way they can multiply is if they're not on fire. So we light them on fire so they don't multiply. So we lucked out a little bit here with the turn order. Not killing Samsnosa, so she can get her signature move in Wave Artificer, which hits everybody for 2/3 her power. Give them a punch in the face, and we're good. Nice. And now Samsnosa is permanently in our party. We have all 4 party members. And we'll really start to cook. Grab a pleather gauge from the fridge there. Just another attack item. Oh, don't. Get a rancher poncho from this rancher. Go figure. Now we have like a quick menu here. Sure I do it right. Basically what we're doing in any of these menus is just shuffling around the equipment where we get our party members to be faster than the boss. So like I said, all of the stats in this game are static. They're not increased or decreased by anything other than equipment. And so everybody has a fixed speed. So we'll jumble around our equipment to up their speed to be favorable for us in the boss fights. So this next area is pretty fun. The zooming in and out that I keep doing is actually a function of the game. I just like, you could play it either zoomed in or zoomed out. I just prefer it zoomed out. Normally you can run through the butt of that guy, but we don't want to risk that today.
That is a sentence.
A lot of weird stuff comes out during this game, but sometimes you're running through butts.
That is the kind of sentence that, like, I hear it and I'm like, I'm not sure that sentence has ever been uttered in that sequence of words. Yeah, we might hear that a couple times during the run. Welcome to Hylics.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna wait here because we're not in time to beat this guy. Don't you dare. Okay. He follows an exact pattern, and I know I wasn't gonna get touched by that enemy, but I really didn't want it to happen, so I moved more. Anyway, this is Worm Pod Maze. We kind of just blew through it. It's a maze that appears as you run through it, and at the end there's this worm called the Fronthlopine. What that means, I don't know. But another boss battle. So we'll hear, this will be the first instance where we'll see the0nlymarath0n use the Charge Up Foam Armor skill that's going to power us through the game, basically. Be able to tank the hits and not die. And we're also going to see Wayne's signature skill for the first time, Disillusion, which is another damage over time skill that also lowers the enemy's attack by 20%. So kind of nice. In this fight, Samsnosa is going to use our multi-coffee. And what's nice about this boss is because every first turn, it'll always use a move called Accelerate, which allows it to take 2 turns every turn from now. Which sounds bad, but it's really not, usually. At least we hope. And then Wayne applying our 3rd damage over time. All we're really hoping for is that it doesn't use a move called 100 Kicks, because 1, it's really slow and hits everybody. And that it doesn't just double focus somebody with both of its attacks. Like that. So hopefully Wayne doesn't get hit again. Luckily, somebody can take 2 hits, but if he happens to do 100 kicks, Wayne's gonna die. But now we're just gonna snap it out, the base attack. Look at that. What a game! So Wayne's dead. That's not a big deal. This is just gonna be a slower fight. We will make up for it. Soul Crisper again. So normally, if everybody's still alive, we'll just keep punching until we win. Look at you. You are very mean today. That's a good move to use. Because it doesn't really do anything. It adds poison, which isn't going to stop us from punching the worm in the face and killing it. And watching it explode into meat. Really not a bad fight other than the 2 people dying. Like we said, no experience. Everybody dying is inconsequential. As long as somebody lives. But here we go. We get another fun little cutscene of a shield dissipating around a town. That'll be our next destination. Why we needed to do that, I don't know. That worm was just in charge of the shield. So instead of flying all the way back to the ship, we're just going to jump into the water here. Quick reset. Then we're going to try and make this very trivial jump that I'm struggling with. Back into the ship. Just enjoy the ship music. Very comforting. If you've played Hylics 1 before and then haven't played Hylics 2, once you get into the ship is when you start. It's like when the game is like a wow compared to the first game. Just because of the full-scale detail that's in this compared to the first one. It's just... It did switch engines and everything. The first one was an RPG Maker game. This one switched to Unity, I believe.
I was actually going to ask that question because I remember years back I did a presentation on weird and odd RPGs, and this one came up actually as a suggestion when I was asking about it, or Hylics 1 specifically, and it was like, I was amazed you could even do that in RPG Maker.
Yeah, it's really crazy. The dev is super talented. It's a single dev for all of the art, and then there's another person who does the music. But they're crazy talented. He hand molds. Everything that's made out of clay is hand molded. He's actually teasing their third game. I don't know if it's Hylics 3. They haven't said it exactly. Everybody's hoping, but he's been tweeting out like pictures. I'll go back to that. This is our like one and oh gosh, I screwed it up. This is our one and only skip, really, of the game, and I just messed. That's okay. Where even are we? All right, we're back, I think. Yeah. Anyway, so normally in this area, you'd have to run all over the place, hitting a bunch of buttons and stuff, but pretty recently, there was a skip discovered that if you just jump on this monitor and jump... Oh my gosh, why am I struggling so much? You just have to jump around and fly outward. Oh gosh, hopefully we make it. We gotta save. We gotta load the save. And kind of hold backwards. And we should land on the bridge. We didn't, but that's okay. We just need to be on flat ground. And once you load and save and reload, it manipulates your spawn point. Which allows us to get here. Yeah, I knew we were gonna be under that. This is a big old botching. But what reloading and saving, or saving and reloading does is helps you... Oh, he's here! Oh! That's okay. We get to see the death animation. That guy came out of nowhere. So, just trying to get through regular fights, it's almost impossible. Because we're not set up for it. But we get to watch the death animation. This is always glorious. Every time you die, this is what you see. It never gets any... It never makes you feel any better. All right, we'll try this again. So let's load the save.
We have something that might make you feel a little better. We did get a couple more donations.
Yeah, go for it while I try to get the skip.
All right, we got $2.99 from Anonymous. It says, I don't like chaos, but I do like charity. And in response, we got $3.01 from Durak Sharna, who seems insistent that the donation total have 1 penny on it. It says, chaos for charity, heart.
All right, so this should work better. We didn't lose any height. We landed on the bridge. When we mini crystal, we actually get to dash over. So for some reason, when you mini crystal and from being on a flat surface, even if your save is in the air, you'll be able to jump. And being able to jump lets us get over that bridge without having to do anything in the area required to do it. So pretty nice skip there. Probably it's the only, like, it's not really a sequence break, it just kind of skips the dungeon. We still have to fight the bosses and everything, but pretty nice time save. It was 40 seconds worth of time save, which in this game is quite a bit. Another menu here. Long glove boots. Again, just jumbling stuff for speed purposes. Make sure... Fine. For the upcoming boss battle. What are their health look like? Actually should be okay, but let's smack these. So the only way to recover health in the game, this thing is just, you smack these little bugs. I always forget that you have to do it. Like, I know you do it, but I forget that it's weird. I forget that a lot of things in this game is actually weird. So why don't we save here, because this fight can actually go haywire if we're unlucky. But this boss fight's with Odazir and Karsuro. We'll notice a gimmick right away in this fight once it gets to their turns, but due to the shuffling of the equipment we did, all of our characters should go first. the0nlymarath0n doing his charged foam armor move again, as usual. He will be doing that basically every time, first turn. I see a question, if combat doesn't give XP, what does? Nothing. There is no XP in this game. You can only increase stats with equipment and by using other random items that you can find. Main nematode interface. So now we have all 3 damage over time skills on our guy on the right. And if you notice, so if the guy on the right, Karsuro, is unwrapped, Odazir will spend their turn rewrapping him instead of attacking us. So we abuse this mechanic to our liking to only get one person attacking. The bad part about this is that Karsuro hits like a truck. So that's why we need our foam armor. But what that little bowl of soup next to all the characters is vulnerable status, which means they'll take double damage on their next hit. So basically, the the0nlymarath0n would probably survive the hit, but Pangorma, who now has it, will definitely not survive. So hopefully we have a 25% chance that the Pangorma doesn't get hit, and we're kind of hoping that that's what happens. He doesn't get hit, and then we'll be okay at least for another turn. We basically have 2 turns before we can get hit. So let's see. All right. We're not in the clear yet, but that's good. So we'll keep unwrapping, and now we're gonna go we spent the last turn applying all our damage over time to Odazir so we could start working on his health. But we do need to get rid of Karsuro at some point because he'll start killing people if we leave him hanging around too long. Wayne dead, unlucky. So this is, again, not too big of a deal. We've made it deep enough into the fight where this actually isn't gonna be too big of an issue for us. And we're just gonna mash it out and see how this goes. We'll probably reapply one of the damage over time effects here. And that's not a bad skill for him to use because now he's stunned for a turn. We really probably didn't need Soul Crisper, but we'll just ensure that we're gonna win this fight. Yeah, that's a sentient spaghetti man. That's definitely what we were fighting. He did. Not too bad. Other than the extremely terrible attempt at the skips. But after that boss fight, unlucky for us, we have to go straight into another boss fight. And you know, some people have died. Wayne died in that fight, and we'll be at full health. But this is a fight with Gibby, the boss of the game, the main boss of the game. Unfortunately, the whole plot up to this point was that we were trying to stop him from being resurrected, but we were not successful, and now we'll have to fight him. So we can get through this fight even with our low stats, as long as Gibby doesn't use a specific move where he throws dynamite at us. So let's see, we spend the first turn attacking, and then we'll see what Gibby does, and then it'll all open up to us. Well, I said we didn't want to see the dynamite, but we saw the dynamite. This is just excessive, honestly, but instant doom to the party. But that's okay, I was just memeing, that's supposed to happen. Honestly, the fastest way through that, there's a skill in the game that lets you just, you know, perish and end the fight immediately, but we like to have fun here. It's late. We're just getting into the overnight shift and wanted to see if y'all were paying attention or not. But no harm, no foul. Actually, it's good for the route that we die here, because every time you die in this game, you don't get a game over. You get sent to the afterlife. And in the afterlife is where we can increase our party's max health, which is going to be important for the next boss fight, which is also the final boss fight. But we do have a ways to go before we get there. We get an interesting cutscene of Gibby remaking his castle and turning all of the townsfolk into giant insects. If you've played Hylics 1, this does. These people all kind of resemble what the characters look like in some areas in Hylics 1. And if you were to talk to them, they would say mostly gibberish, which is a fun fact about Hylics 1. 85% of the dialogue in Hylics 1 is just randomly word-generated sentences that have nothing to do with anything. But here's the meat grinder. Wow, that's actually the lowest amount of meat I've ever seen. We don't want to do that. We want to go where our things. We're going to take this item. It's called a muscle applique. And what it's going to do is raise the stats of the character we choose to use it on. We'll use it on Pangorma, who is our heaviest hitting character. We'll use our mini crystal, which we've been using frequently, to go back to Wayne's house. I don't remember if we talked to the tub or not. I'm pretty sure we did. But I'm going to talk to this one just in case. Yeah, we did, because we didn't get the re-clean status. Having clean status for the next fight is, like, crucial to living. But we won't worry about that. We go back to Wayne's house because to get to the next area, we have to recall the ship. And since we died, we can't just go to where the ship currently is. But luckily for us, the game has a ship recall mechanic that's really close to Wayne's house. And we get back in and we'll fly up to Gibby's castle. If you're flying the ship, you can only land on these landing pads. So that's why it gets tweaked, like to make sure I actually hit it. And you can fly over it without being able to land on it. Why did I jump? This place, Gibby's like lair or castle is called Highlands Island. And it's just a big dungeon really. But there's lots of enemies to dodge. Timing is crucial. This is probably going to be a little scary. I hope we don't get into the fight. All right, he's far enough away. Sometimes if you're not quick there, that guy could just be right on top of you for whatever reason. And then, like I was saying, taking fights in this game is just a no-no. Like you don't have the time to deal with it. Like it's really hard to deal with it. They're almost as difficult. Every individual fight is almost as difficult as the bosses we're fighting, but we're not prepared to do them. This is going to be close too. We're fine. So if we get into a fight, the fastest thing to do is to just die and lose the fight and then come back. It's going to be faster than trying to win. So hopefully we don't get in any fights. So far, so good, at least in this area. This area is this place getting into a fight is particularly punishing just because of how big it is. Oh gosh, we just keep rolling instead of air dashing. That's okay. If you were to dash on the ground, you roll instead, which is like the game's dodge mechanic. Use our mini crystal, because we need to get back to the beginning of the place. And the dodging is sketchy at best in this. I think I was actually talking about it earlier. So I try to avoid having to do it as much as possible. Last item we're going to pick up for the run. The Psychic Knuckles, our strongest attack item. Leather gauge, remove. Poncho. Psychic Knuckles. Rancher Poncho. And lands and boots. So, almost every item we've picked up has been our strongest attack item at the time, and we just immediately give that to Pangorma. He's always attacking just because his base stat is the highest out of all the characters. His is a 15, and then I think Wayne's is 12 or 13, and then the other two are 12. So, I mean, it's not a significant difference, but he's just always attacking. Hello. I'm trying to slap the big bug. So we give him our strongest attack items. But we also jumbled around the other equipment to make sure that everybody was going to be faster than the last boss, and the way we jumble that around makes that possible. Got another dodge on the stairs here. That's a little scary. Nice. We're going to do a quick save and load to reset our spawn point. We can use the mini crystal and come right back here in just a sec. dash a bit. Grab this key. Instead of going all the way back around, we just use the mini crystal. Nice little time save. Oh. Nice, everything was right here. So there's not going to be anything in our way. And the only thing left to do now is the last boss. So once we get this fight going, there's actually a little bit of time before anything really significant will happen again. We'll have some time to read stuff, but just get the fight going. Darn it, sometimes if you dash into the boss, everybody will just start spinning, but I didn't get it. I must have talked too soon. But here we are, this is the real final boss. This is Gibby. Again. And when I said I didn't want to see a skill the first time, I mean it this time. I don't want to see a skill called Killer Trees turn 1. It's not going to be as bad or devastating as the other fight where we just died, but it'll slow us down a bit. But mainly first turn, the the0nlym actually isn't going to use his foam armor yet, just because we're hoping Gibby doesn't use Killer Trees. We'll see what he does. Hey, man. This is some good old marathon luck. So like I said, this isn't the end of the world, and I actually picked up an extra safety item just to make sure we would be okay for this. So what we're going to do, the the0nlym's actually going to use a Cloud Germ, which is a full heal item that'll bring back also 50% of their magic or will. So very nice item. But now we're kind of in improvisation mode. So we're going to spend a couple turns snapping here, so if there's any donations to time or just any call-outs. Not bad. We'll get a tear down. It shouldn't kill anyone. Now we're going to have the the0nlym charge up. Because one of the mechanics of this fight is that whenever Gibby, as you can see, as he gets hit, he reflexively summons minions, the game says. When he's at 6 minions, he will always use Killer Tree when it's his turn. Which is good, because we want him to get rid of all of his own minions. What it does is it does a percentile damage of health to everybody. It shouldn't kill Pongorma. If it does, we'll probably revive him. Go pretty much full YOLO, but I think he'll be okay. He should have like 1 health, maybe. 4 health. Alright, we're good. No big deal. So now we foam armor, and everything's okay when you're covered in foam. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna reapply Soul Crisper. Basically, what we're trying to do here is mitigate the turns where Gibby does an individual attack. He does have a group attack, but it's weaker than everything, so that attack's slow, but it's nice because it won't actually mitigate the slow attacks, or mitigate the single attacks by living with foam armor, and then having him Killer Trees and not actually kill the person who's going to be weak, so in this case it'll be Wayne. And then we'll heal everybody up, just so we can make it through this fight. So the the0nlym actually doesn't have a turn here. No, everything's fine. Trust me. Everything's great. Couldn't be better. So this is going to be interesting too, because really what we are hoping to do is that when Gibby uses Killer Trees for the final time, he'll kill all of his minions, and then he'll be one hit, so we don't summon any more minions. I don't know how this is going to work out. But we'll Cloud Germ again just to make sure. Usually in an actual run, we'll only have 1 Cloud Germ here. So this would be very scary, to say the least. Somebody would be dying here, but we're going to make sure nobody dies. And just for fun, we're going to use Wayne's Disillusion, just so he doesn't do anything crazy. Anything out of order here to ruin our good time here, because now we're super deep into the fight, and dying here would be an actual tragedy. But we shouldn't. We'll be okay. Alright. I think I have a hypothesis where once he's under a certain amount of health, he'll just do killer trees every time. Luckily, that hypothesis was just not proven wrong in real time. But now you see he used killer trees to get rid of his enemies. The Desmond gets to one-tap him, so he dies without calling any more enemies. So not bad at all. Gibby down, there really isn't much left here. All we have to do is run and push the button to end the time. So we're approaching time. It's about probably in 30-ish seconds. Look at all the meat. This castle just exploded into meat. Why not? But it's always fun. At the end of Hylics, for some reason, you always have like this, you can like play a concert and like sing songs and they say the wackiest stuff. And you just like press all the buttons and like concert it up. Hey look, if you do it enough, Vuex comes. Anyway, we're gonna dash to the button. I explode but destroy. I'm glad that's the last lyric it left out on. How about we run up the ramp, buddy? Anyway, time is coming up in about 10 seconds, right when we jump on this button up here. And time.
GG's.
Thanks. I hope y'all had a good time. This cutscene is pretty zany, as you might imagine. I don't know if there's time to watch it, but it is pretty entertaining.
I don't know if I would expect anything less at this point with this game.
But yeah, that's Hylics too. I don't know if I did a good job making the game look fun or interesting, but I can assure you if you were to dive into these games, Hylics 1 or 2 casually, they are an extremely good time and very much worth it to dive into and take your time and experience. There's truly, I have never played or seen anything quite like them. They're an experience all in themselves. So if you're looking for something to play and you want to get a little weird, maybe not at 2 a.m., maybe like in the daylight when, you know, things work better, give it a shot. Nice old Samsnosa golf scene. The song's actually terrific too.
Alrighty, thank you so much, RJ. A fantastic Hylics 2 run. We'll be cutting to an intermission here very shortly, and yeah, upcoming will be a what is this controller setup here? Gonna be a run of Alien Isolation. No major glitches, novice. Run on a steering wheel. %. What? That's gonna be an interesting one, especially with that game.
I can't wait.